त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसुदेशिकेन्द्रं द्वैपायनं सूत्रकृतं मुनीन्द्रं श्रीशङ्करं भाष्यकृतं यतीन्द्रं मद्देशिकञ्चापि नमामि विद्यै। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Pranams everyone. So we are in the second chapter. We are doing Sloka number 42 to 44. Shri Bhagavan vācam imāṃ puṣpitāṃ vācam pravadantya vipaschitah veda vādaratah partha nānyadastīti vādinah कामात्मानस्वर्गपराः जन्म कर्म फल पradām kriya viśeṣu bahulām भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते. So Bhagavan is explaining how a non-karma yogi gets enamored, gets addicted, goes into a wrong path, and goes into a wrong path because of other people who are purely materialistic in nature. In Sloka 41, which was the previous Sloka, Bhagavan had given what is the glory of a karma yogi. In Sloka 41, Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekehe kurunandana, Bhagavan mentioned how a karma yogi is very clear about his objective of life, what his goals are, what the path should be taken. He has absolutely no confusion at all. Whereas bahushaka henantascha buddhayo avyavasayinam, for a person who is not clear about what the goals of life are, or what the goal of life is, or what the paths should be, or what should be the sadhanas, or what is the purpose of life, then bahushaka henantascha. There are too many paths and too many confusing options available, and they get confused. And here between 42 and 44, Bhagavan basically talks about how some people, they actually mislead the others. And for the people who are misleading the others, Bhagavan gave them some lakshanas or descriptions of these selfish materialistic people who wrongly advises others, who misleads others. And we saw them. The first one was avipashchitaha. Avipashchitaha means unintelligent people. Unintelligent because these people believe in materialistic success, and they think that the goal of life is to earn money, have good food, live in comfort, and then die. That seems to be their only goal, or the goals that they seek. They believe in materialism. And Bhagavan says the second description that Bhagavan gave for them is Vedavadarataha. Vedavadarata means they were enamored by, or they were focused only on the karma kanda, focused on getting how to earn money, power, position, fame. They are only looking for those goals. And not only that, nānyad astiti vādinaha. they argue. Even if you try to bring in some sense to them, or come ask them to say, but there is the spirituality, there are about puja and all those things, they will argue that there is nothing else in this world other than enjoyment, that the whole world has been created for our enjoyment. Why so? Because they are kāmātmanaha. Kāmātmanaha means they are full of desires. Their desires do not seem to stop. Even after fulfilling one desire, another desire comes in. Or even before fulfilling one, the others come through. Kāmātmanaha. And what do they believe? They believe in the heaven to be the ultimate goal. Swargaparaha. They think, if at all they think that you have to do some good, it is for the sake of reaching heaven. Why heaven? Because you can enjoy still more. Heaven is a place where you still enjoy. So their goal is only enjoyment. So this is the description that Bhagavan gave of these people. And then what do? They don't keep quiet. They speak. Pravadanti. What do you mean by speak? They actually try to convert others. Even if a person is just about going into the line of spirituality, they try to dissuade him, discourage him, and try to bring him onto the side of materialism. So they speak. And how do they speak? Bhagavan had given 3 adverbs. The way they speak. The first word we saw as imāṃ, puṣpitāṃ, vācam. Their words are all slow, flowery. They are so convincing. They are so eloquent. It's so nice to hear. It's so beautiful to hear. It's so music to the ears. What they say seems so convincing. What for? I mean, they will say, why are you worried about all these things at this age? After all, youth is for enjoyment. You cannot enjoy things when you grow old. And it will seem so convincing. Very flowery, very seducing. And they will say how, they enjoyed their life by doing these activities, and that how, you are missing out on all those things. So, imāṃ, puṣpitāṃ, vācam. So, unknowingly we will be drawn as well. And then the second adverb that Bhagavan gave was jenma, karma, phala, pradām. Whatever they speak, whatever they actually preach, whatever they advise, whatever they want us to do, will all only lead to further births. The results of whatever action they propose, or they advise, or they encourage, it will only result in Punarapi jananaṃ, Punarapi maraṇaṃ, Punarapi janani jatare sayanam. It will only make us remain, or it will only make us remain in the ocean of samsara. Iha samsare bahudustare. So there will be no end at all. So jenma, karma, phala, pradām. We've seen so far in the last class. Now the last one, the third one adverb is kriya, viśeṣa, bahulām. I think we talked about this also. Kriya, viśeṣa, bahulām is basically they talk about various projects, new things that have come in the world. Have you gone to this place? Have you done this? Have you actually invested here? Have you thought about doing this? So they give us lots of projects, lots of activities for us to do. Have you watched that movie? Have you watched this? Whatever. It's all lots of ambitious projects. And what is the casualty for us? The casualty for us is because we have only a limited time. The time that we ultimately spend on these things will result in something else to be dropped. And what we drop Gita class, we drop spirituality, we drop our sadhanas, we end up not doing those things. And again, where will it lead it to? Lead to janma karma phala pradām. It will lead to one action, will lead to another action, which will what? It will again suck us around. It will become a whirlpool of actions, because we will not stop at one. We will go into a whirlpool. We will be getting stuck in this materialism without knowing how to come out, like Abhimanyu. And all these activities that are, as I said, the world has got beauty, novelty and variety. So there are so much of variety of things to explore, enjoy. Everything is beautiful, and there is a lot of novelty in it. And all these will actually lead us from one birth to another birth. So far, for what we had seen, such and such people, so Bhagavan has said, so far what he has said, such and such people, so there are a group of people who are materialists, who have these qualities and who speak these kind of words or lead to these kind of results. So far we have seen in this 42 to 44 until this. Now in the last part, 43rd Sloka, Bhagavan says, kriya viśeṣa bahulām bhogaishvarya gatim prati. Bhogaishvaryam gatim prati. For, prati means for or attaining or towards. Prati. In Hindi also we use aapke prati. So for or towards. Then gatim. Gatim means attaining. What do they want to attain? Bhoga aishvaryam. Bhoga means pleasure. Aishvaryam means power. So for attaining pleasure and power. So these people, they are of these type, and they speak these words for what purpose? Their targets are only two. Bhoga, Aishvarya. Bhoga means what? Enjoyment. Enjoyment is what? Kama Purushartha. We have these four goals: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Bhoga means Kama. Kama Purushartha. Aishvarya means power. Artha Purushartha. So Bhoga Aishvarya means Artha, Kama, Purushartha is their only goal. Money and pleasures, power, position, fame, name, all those things are their only goals in life. So there are people who will advise, you go to this temple, you do this kind of ritual, you do 12. For what purpose? For earning money, or for getting promotion, or settling down in this place. So all these things are actually given as a sadhana for attaining what? Only Artha and Kama. You go to Durga temple, light this lamp for 12 weeks, every Friday or whatever. All these things, none of them is for spiritual growth, none of them is for moksha, but only for either attaining money, power, position, fame and all, or for enjoyment, as in avoiding any sorrow and all those things. So if you look at it, whatever words we had seen so far, those 5 adjectives and those 3 adverbs, and the reason why they talk, these have been covered in the 42nd and 43rd Sloka. So we had not seen any 44th Sloka yet. So what has Bhagavan said in these 2 slokas? Such people, what is this people? Avipashchitaha vedavada nanyadastiti vadinaha kamatmanaha swargaparaha. This kind of people, and they speak for what? Or in what manner? Imāṃ puṣpitāṃ vācam jenma karma phala pradām kriya viśeṣa bahulām. Kriya viśeṣa bahulām. And what reason they do? Bhogaishvaryam gatim prati. That is the reason they do. Now, the Vivekis, people who have clarity, who listen to them, they will not be enamored. So a person who is already has got conviction in spirituality, has got a conviction in moksha purushartha, he will not get attracted to these words. He will not be addicted to what they say. But what happens to the avivekis? Avivekis meaning the people who do not have any clarity. Bhagavan calls these people as bhogaishvarya prasaktānaṃ. Prasaktaha. Bhogaishvarya prasaktānaṃ. Prasaktaha means totally attached. Sakta means attached. Prasaktaha means totally attached. Totally attached to what? Bhoga Aishvarya. These people, so there are the avivekis who are still thinking that, only the name, fame, money, power, position are the actual goals of life. So they are still attached to this as their goals. So those people who are attached to Arthakama alone, Bhoga Ishvariya Prasaktanam, Taya Pahrita Chetasam. Taya means by those. By those means what? By those words. Those words. Whose words? The words spoken by those materialists. Taya Apahrita Chetasam. Apahrita Chetasam means whose minds get carried away. Cheta means the mind. Apahrita Chetasam. Whose minds get carried away. Whose minds are carried away. What does that mean? Their sense of conscience. Their minds get carried away means their conscience, their sanity, their sense of justice, their sense of discrimination, they will all go away. Why would they go away? Because this person is already addicted to desires. This person is already addicted to desires, except that he is not actually converting others. Now when he actually listens to these people and he is halfway there, he doesn't know whether he needs to go to the spirituality or to materialism, or how to balance. He doesn't know. He thinks the world is made only for enjoying, or at least he wants to enjoy. He is addicted. Bhoga Ishvariya Prasaktānaṃ. Now what happens when he listens to these words? His desires now multiply in geometric proportions. His desires get more and more. So normally what happens is, fulfilling desires will take some time. Desires, when we want to fulfill, it will take some time. But the desires to come in our mind happens in a fraction of a second. So when multiple desires come, there are so many desires, but there are still, the number of desires that get fulfilled are actually, the rate at which it gets fulfilled is slow. So, but there is also an urgency, there is also this attachment to Bhoga Aishwaryam. So the desires become compelling. And when the desires become compelling, what happens? The person does not see a legitimate way of fulfilling those desires. Or the desires itself such that these are not legitimate desires. So what does he do? He moves into the adharmic side. Trying to cheat people, trying to take from what does not belong to you, signing on the wrong, putting a signature in the wrong place, all gambling, all kinds of evil activities. Those kind of evil activities, there is actually a tendency for this person to get into that side of things. He begins to take adharmic means, because the desires are so compelling and the attachment towards Bhoga and Aishwarya is so high. So apahrita chetasam, that the conscience is suppressed. So the viveka shakti goes away, discrimination of what is right and wrong goes away. And what is the result of that? Bhagavan says, Vyavasayatmika buddhihi samadhau na vidiyate. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi means we saw clear understanding. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi means clear understanding. Na vidiyate. It does not take place. Where? Samadhau. In the mind. So this person, such people who listens to these people, the listeners, they do not have clarity of thinking. They do not have clear priorities. And now they are not very sure about the goals of life. And now because of all these words that they listen, they apahrita chetasam, their minds get carried away, and there is no clarity in terms of what are the life's goals, what are the priorities of life, what is the ultimate goal. That does not get settled down in their mind. Samadhau na vidiyate. Samadhi, normally we use samadhi. Samadhi is a benefit of nididhyasana. When we do nididhyasana sadhana, samadhi is a state. It's a state of mind. But here samadhi should be understood as mind. Samadhau na vidiyate means the mind or intellect, we can say in the mind or intellect there is no clear thinking at all. So they do not have a clear understanding of neither the lakshya, the goal, nor the sadanas. So this is about people who get enamored by materialists. Bhagavan had spent 3 slokas on them. Now in the next sloka, Bhagavan is going to give an important advice to Arjuna. It's a very important sloka. So we will see that sloka. Sloka number 45. Traigunya vishaya vedaha nistraigunyo bhavarjuna nirdvando nitya sattvastaha niryoga kshema atmavan. Traigunya vishaya vedaha nistraigunyo bhavarjuna nirdvando nitya sattvastaha niryoga kshema atmavan. So this, as I said, is a very important sloka. Here Bhagavan says, if you want vyavasayatmika buddhi, which means a clear understanding of life, its purpose, its goals and the sadhanas, Bhagavan is giving a method here. How to get that? So Bhagavan already said, a karma yogi has vyavasayatmika buddhi. Others do not have vyavasayatmika buddhi. And why do they not have vyavasayatmika buddhi? Because they are already attached to bhoga and aishwarya, and they listen to people who talk about how to attain bhoga and aishwarya. They talk in a flowery manner and also give you lots of activities for you to do. And because of that, you tend to stay in samsara. You do not understand the goals of life. Now, if you want to have clear understanding of goals of life and the sadhanas, what should we do? Bhagavan is giving a method here. How to attain this vyavasayatmika buddhi? How to attain? Bhagavan is giving 5 sadhanas here. 5 sadhanas. For us to be able to do any sadhana, suppose if I say every morning do this sadhana, make sure that you spend 5 minutes of your time in front of Ishvara. We require a nishchaya buddhi. Nishchaya buddhi means I need to have this conviction. I need to have this. Only when my mind is convinced, only when my intellect is also convinced, not just intellect. The mind also needs to be convinced. Only then we will do this sadhana, we will complete the sadhana. So the first thing is we have to be determined. We have to get this nishchaya. And what happens, even for this spirituality, even for this Gita class, for example, initially we could have come without any kind of nishchaya. We do not know. So we are not very convinced. We start off with that. When we start coming to this class, we can come here because we want to know what is being said in Gita, what is being said in Mahabharata. So initially we are not having this conviction or understanding, clear understanding. We are just there for trying to see what is being said. But as we keep listening, our nishchaya buddhi goes up. The shraddha gets converted, the shraddha becomes stronger. And this determination, this nishchaya buddhi comes up. But understand this nishchaya buddhi is not easy. It's not come so soon. We cannot just decide, okay, I'm going to get this nishchaya buddhi this evening on why I should do this sadhana. It does not work that way. For us to be able to get this nishchaya buddhi, we will have to have lots of mental strength. So this vyavasayatmika buddhi is actually a nishchaya buddhi on what is life's goal and the paths to take. On the life's goal especially. And therefore to build that mental strength, we need to do some sadhanas. Those sadhanas are being taught here. Bhagavan is giving 5 sadhanas here. The 5 sadhanas that will help us build that mental strength, which will help us to have this vyavasayatmika buddhi. But before giving those 5 sadhanas, Bhagavan is giving an information first. He is first giving an information before he goes to give out the sadhanas. He says, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. Arjuna, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. The Vedas deal with the world of 3 gunas. The Vedas deal with the world in the world of 3 gunas. Vedaha. And when we say Vedaha, here it means the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. As you know, the Vedas are got, we can split the Vedas into 2 parts. Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda. Veda Purva, Veda Anta. Dharma Shastra, Brahma Shastra. Or Atma Shastra. So we can split that into 2 parts. Here, Bhagavan is talking about the first part. Karma Kanda. What is in the Karma Kanda portion of Vedas? It talks about the various yajnas that one can perform, the pujas, what the activities, all the karmas are all talked about. The second portion, as you know, is what deals with philosophy. So we can say religion, philosophy. Karma, jnana. Dharma, moksha. We can say that. So the second portion is the Upanishadic portion where Moksha Shastra is given. Now Bhagavan here when he says Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha, he talks about the first part. The Karma Kanda portion alone. Generally Veda, when we say it refers to both portions. But in some places or in many places within this Bhagavad Gita and all the Upanishads also, sometimes when we say Vedaha, it refers to the Karma Kanda. And how do we refer the last portion? We say Vedanta. So he says Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. Traigunya means here samsara. Vishayaha Vedaha. Vishayaha means subject. Traigunyam is the subject of Vedas. Samsara is the subject matter of Vedas. The Vedas talk about samsara. Now the question comes, how is Traigunyam, or how does Traigunyam mean samsara? Trigunas, Trigunas, the group of three gunas, the effect of three gunas. Traigunya means the effect of three gunas. Traigunya. Trigunasya karma traigunyam. The effect of these three gunas is traigunyam. Now we'll have to see how or what are these three gunas and what is the consequence of these three gunas, and how does that actually, why is it that called samsara? We know about these three gunas already, we had seen it multiple times. The three gunas are sattva, rajas, tamas. Sattva, rajas, tamas. The mind of ours has all these three qualities: sattva, rajas, tamas. In fact, the body, everything in this world has got these three qualities, gunas: sattva, rajas, tamas. I'm not going to go too detailed here. The sattva, rajas, Bhagavan has dedicated an entire chapter. Chapter 14 is only to discuss about these three gunas. So we'll see it in detail there. Now we'll see it briefly. What is sattva guna? Sattva guna is about knowledge, awareness. The cognitive ability is called sattva. Rajo guna is about desire, action, all those things. And tamo guna is about delusion or actionless. Laziness, basically. So if we see our mind will have one of these gunas predominant at any point of time. At one point of time, our mind will be very sharp, listening to whatever is being said in the class, will be very, very quick to grasp things. And then at some moments, the mind will be thinking about tomorrow is Monday, what should I do on Monday, what are the things I have to achieve, what needs to be done in the workplace. The mind will be in Rajoguna sometimes. Or sometimes when the teaching is actually very boring, or the body is already tired, the mind can go also into Tamoguna, sleepy, laziness. So the mind can have predominance of one of these three gunas at any point of time. So it can be either active or knowledge focus, or right now thinking about some desires, or just lazy or deluded. And according to the Shastras, among these three gunas, the Tamoguna is the most lowly guna. Tamoguna is the most lowly guna. The next higher guna is Rajoguna, and the highest among the guna is Sattva-guna. Now, if someone is in Tamoguna, and the mind can be in these three gunas, that's fine at any point of time, predominance of one gunas. As a person also, as a mind for a person, there will be some predominance. One person could be having a predominantly Sattva mind. There could be another person, of course, that person will also have Rajoguna and Tamoguna predominance at various points of time. But predominantly his character or his general mind, in a general sense, will have one predominance. So there could be some people who are predominantly Sattva. There could be people who are predominantly Rajoguna. There could be some people who are predominantly Tamoguna. If someone is in Tamoguna, it is not possible to bring him to Sattva Guna straight away. It is not possible. So what has to be done? He has to be brought into Rajoguna, and from there he has to be brought into Sattva Guna. That is how if one has to reach Sattva Guna, he has to, and if he is Tamoguna, he has to go through the path of Rajoguna. He cannot directly move from tamoguna to sattva-guna. And the Shastra says, all these three gunas, although there is sattva is superior and tamo is the most inferior, all these three gunas bind us. They bind us. How? This is all again detailed in detail. Bhagavan will describe in 14th chapter. Now we will see it briefly. Tamo guna leads us to delusion. Tamo guna leads us to moham. Moham means delusion. Delusion means what? We understand things incorrectly. What is supposed to be right, we understand that to be wrong. What is supposed to be understood as wrong, we understand that as right. Right and wrong, we get it wrong. Tamoguna leads us to laziness and binds us there. We are sleepy or we are lazy. That lethargy in the body, in the mind. There is this inertia not to do anything, start anything. That is all, and it binds us. When we get there, we want to stay there. We want to stay in that place. It binds us. Similarly, Rajoguna, it leads us to desire. And what happens? Desire, action and all, it leads to jealousy. I get, but I see somebody else getting more than what I want, more than what I have. That leads to jealousy. And it leads me to do certain things and it binds me. It binds me there. And Sattva Guna also, Shastra says, binds you. Because some people are always in the search of peace and knowledge and they are actually, again that too binds them. Bhagavan says, a jnani, especially in 14th chapter, he says, a jnani is one who has moved from tamo to rajo to sattva and then even overcome sattva. The 14th chapter is called as Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, and there Bhagavan will call this jnani as Gunatita. Gunatita, which means Guna Atita, one who has transcended these three gunas. And so these jnani is one who has transcended, but otherwise, which means he is not bound. A jnani is free. A jnani is liberated. Whereas a samsari is one of these three gunas and he is bound. Now, as I said, the mind is made of these three gunas. I also said the whole world is made of these three gunas. The entire prapancha is made of these three gunas only. What are these three gunas? Knowledge, peace, desire, action, delusion, actionless. It's only about these three gunas. And the consequence of these three gunas is what? Which means, the consequence of these three gunas is this prapancha, this universe, this jagat. So this traigunya vishayaha means the world. The world deals with, or the Vedas deal with the world of three gunas. The first portion of the Vedas, the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, talk about this world, the samsara. It talks about the various ways of fulfilling our desires. It prescribes various actions, yajnas, pujas, karmas to fulfill our desire. It tells us about what are the ways to gain wealth, or what is the yajna to get children. It even has an homa to destroy enemies. And in this manner, it adds fuel to our desires. The Vedas, by saying, you do this, you will get this. You do this, by this, you will get this. And by doing so, it fuels our desires. It tempts us to fulfill our desires. And thereby what happens is, whenever it fuels us, the desires also multiply, the desires also increase. So Vedas talk about material accomplishments. It talks about sensory pleasures. and thereby keeping us in samsara. Thereby keeping us in samsara. Because the more we are in materialism about everything, we are going to be more and more bound. We are not going to be coming out of it. So this is, Bhagavan says, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. That's the information first Bhagavan gives to Arjuna about Vedas. Now Bhagavan is saying, talking about the ways how he can be a Vyavasayatmika. The 5 sadhanas that Arjuna should do are for us as well. The first one, Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Nistraigunyo Bhava. That's the first sadhana or the first advice. Nistraigunyo Bhava. Arjuna, that is okay. Arjuna is calling. So he says, Arjuna, be a person who has vairagya on these 3 gunos. Nistraigunyo Bhava means be a person of vairagya. Be a vairagi. Be a dispassionate person. This is the first advice. This can be very technical, this sloka. Try to understand. If you not, keep listening again and again, you will get it. Nistraigunyo Bhava means Nishkamo Bhava. Nishkamo Bhava. You know Sakama, Nishkama. Sakama means I am doing it for something, some result in my mind. Nishkama means I don't have any desire, but I do out of as a duty or as towards, without any desire, I do some action. So Nistraigunyo Bhava means Nishkamo Bhava, which means I do not have any desire of fulfilling any desires. There is no Arthakama desire. I am not giving any undue importance to Arthakama. So which means I've got Vairagya. I got Vairagya on samsara. What is Vairagya? Vairagya means renouncing or foregoing the enjoyment from sensory objects provided by this world. I will repeat, it's not about hating, it's not about an aversion towards the world. Vairagya means renouncing or foregoing the enjoyment from sensory objects provided by this world. And how can we get Vairagya? What is it that we need to bring into our mind again and again to be able to get this virtue called Vairagya? We have seen this, but again we'll repeat, we'll cover this. First, we have to resolve that the world, the entire Jagat, this Prapancha, whatever this world can offer me, is all anityam, is all impermanent, is all transient. The relations are transient, the objects are transient, the happiness is impermanent, everything is impermanent. What the world offers me is all impermanent, anityam. Nothing is permanent that I can get in this world. My parents were there in the beginning, but in the later stage of my life, my parents are not there. I seem to have a partner now, but in the first few years of my life, there was no partner, life partner, there was no spouse. There is nothing permanent in this world. But let it be impermanent. We might ask, what if it is impermanent, but it is still giving me enjoyment, no? An ice cream, it may be impermanent, it is there, the happiness is there only for the time that I have and for maybe last for a few more hours after that. But it's still giving me enjoyment. So the second point comes out, no, it is not just impermanent, it is also atriptikaram. It is insatiable. It cannot make me fulfilled. It cannot make me contented. The worldly objects will not satisfy me completely. I had an ice cream last month. This month I'm getting a craving again. It's just because I had an ice cream last month, it has not made me fulfilled about ice cream again. It has still made me more craving. Then the question we might ask is, so what? Okay, it can be impermanent. It need not satisfy me fully. So what? Even partially is okay, no? When I eat it, I feel happy. So what is wrong? So the Vedas or Shastra say, no, it is not just that. There is also this dukkha mishra tattva. It is all mixed with sorrow. Whatever enjoyment you are having or you are seeking or you are enjoying this world, it is all mixed with sorrow. Any object in this world or any relationship in this world, relationship is easy to understand. We will all go through. No relationship in this world that we have will not give only happiness. I cannot say this person is the only person in this life or this person can give me happiness alone. He does not, or he, she or she, or it, even if it's a pet, does not give me any sorrow. No, it is all mixed with sorrow. It will lead us to sorrow or it is mixed with sorrow. Even if there is a relationship which is giving me happiness for now, the fact that it will have to one day leave me or one day I will have to separate, that will give me sorrow. Or forget this separation, the event of separation. Think about the event of separation, it will give us sorrow. So everything in this world is anityam, then atriptikaram, then dukkha mishra tattva. Or even to attain a particular thing. I want to buy a house. If I buy a house, I will be happy. Now to get this house, I will have to study or work hard. I have to go through pain. I have to go through some sorrow. There is a dukkha mishra tattvam in terms of attaining what I want also. In terms of retaining also, I have to have sorrow. There is a mixture of sorrow. And when it leaves also, there is sorrow. So dukkha mishra tattvam. So Bhagavan's first advice to Arjuna is nistraigunyo bhava. Be a little away from desires. Don't be this sakama, always on sakama karma. Always on, I want to achieve this. I want to get this. Be a little away. Do not get attached to these sensory pleasures. Have some vairagya on worldly things. And even if vairagya is not complete, even if you are not getting to get a complete vairagya, that doesn't matter. Practice it, progress on it, slowly. That is the first advice that Bhagavan gives. And why is this advice? To get vyavasayatmika buddhi. So that we can be a karma yogi. So that we can follow karma yoga. Because who is vyavasayatmika buddhi? A karma yogi is a vyavasayatmika buddhi. So once we get karma yogi, we get the benefit of karma yoga and we come to the next level. So for us to be a karma yogi, the first advice is nistraigunyo bhava. That's the first advice. Now, overcoming desires, nistraigunyo bhava. Overcoming desires, is that easy? No, it's not easy. One cannot overcome desires totally. Neither should one attempt for. Bhagavan also does not want that. Otherwise, if everybody can overcome desires overnight, Bhagavan need not even talk about sadhanas of becoming a karma yoga or sadhanas at all. Only but through karma yoga, one will be able to overcome all desires. So, initially to start with, we should have a little bit of vairagya. But the full vairagya or 80% of the vairagya comes once we are a karma yogi, full-fledged karma yogi. 100% of vairagya comes once we become a jnani. So right now Bhagavan is not saying, overcome all desires totally. He says, Nistragunyo Bhava, have some bit of vairagya. Then, the second advice Bhagavan gives is, so Nishkamo Bhava means, do not under all circumstances think about only body comfort, pleasures. Do not always think about that. Do not have that expectation that at any point of time I should be only comfortable. I should not be sweating. There should not be any pain in my body. I should not have any sorrow. That is not possible. Do not have this expectation. That is what it means by Nistragunyo Bhava or Nishkamo Bhava. Do not have that expectation. Or we can say, if you want to even further simplify, we can say, do not have too much necessities. The expectations, what is that expectation? Because we treat them as a necessary condition for our happiness. Do not have too many demands. So for example, we say, morning, if there is no coffee in the morning, I'll get wild. Expectation. If I don't have a room with proper air condition or a proper fan, I'll not be happy. We are attached to so many comforts. We are enslaved by them. Even if we go for pilgrimage is for voluntarily seeking some bodily discomfort. But then, even if people go for pilgrimage these days, they say, okay, will there be an air conditioned in the room? Will there be, make sure that the cars pick me from every place to another place? There is no walking needed. Whether I'll have morning coffee, whether there will be breakfast served on time. Everything. I don't want to be hungry. I don't want to walk. I don't want to be in any discomfort, even if it is a pilgrimage. That is what our expectations are. Bhagavan says, don't have this. He is not asking us to remove all desires. Because only by living a life of karma yogi will be able to get 80% of overcome all the desires. Then only a sannyani will be overcoming 100%. Right now he says, do it slowly. Nishkamo Bhava means, do not be enslaved to comforts. How do I not become enslaved? How can I overcome this slavery? Bhagavan gives the second sadhana. That tip is given in the second sadhana. The second sadhana is nirdvandaha. Nirdvando is there. What we have to add is nirdvandva bhava. We have to add this bhava everywhere. Nirdvando bhava. Which means be free from. Dvandam means pairs of opposites. Nirdvandam means free from pairs of opposites. You be free from the hold of these pairs of opposites. Dvandam means, as I said, pairs of opposites, opposite experiences, like comfort, discomfort. We already saw one sloka, Labha, Labho, Jaya, Jayo. We saw. Victory and defeat, loss and gain, Shita, Ushna, hot and cold, Mana, Apamana, praise and people bringing us down, humiliation, praise and humiliation, healthy condition, sick condition, all these are pairs of opposites. Nirdvandvaha means get over these pairs of opposites. Be free from these pairs of opposites. In other words, learn to deal with them in the same manner. That's the meaning. Why? The reason is this world, this prapancha, is full of pairs of opposites only. That's why this jagat has got a lakshana called Dvandvatmaka jagat. Dvandvatmaka jagat means the world is only pairs of opposites. And everybody will have to face this joy, sorrow, loss, gain, victory, defeat. Everybody in this world has to face this. Healthy, disease. Even Rama, when he was there, Krishna, everybody will have to do this. Even a king will get pain and sorrow, and a pauper or a beggar will get happiness. And it's not that the rich man will always be sorrow, although he is rich. No, he will also be rich. He will also be happy. He will also have his sorrow. Whoever be that, pairs of opposites is set on. So what we have to understand is that whether we desire or not, whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not, we will have situations which are not meeting our desires, which are not to our expectations, which are not in line with our desires. So what we have to do then? We have to just accept them. Accept them, not accept them grudgingly, grumpily. We accept them in an equipoised manner. We should have a habit of treating them in the same manner. Now, by saying this to ourselves, I have to accept them in an equipoised manner. I will treat them equally. Telling them, saying them alone will not give us this benefit. That will not make us look at them equally. That alone is not enough. Or understanding that I have to be equipoised alone will not give the benefit. It's a question of practice. It's a sense of practice. We have to practice them. Every time we face a sorrow, every time we face a discomfort, every time we face a pain, every time we face a defeat, every time we face some loss, we have to treat them, okay, it's okay. I will accept it. It's not a problem. I will not cry. I will not get angry. I will not get dejected. I will not get depressed. Just accept them. Irritation, the sense of irritation that we show is actually what I would call it as how much of samsara we have. The sooner we get irritated, or the frequency that we get irritated, tells us how much of attachment or samsara we have. Irritation it reflects the amount of samsara that we are in. We are waiting for a bus. Okay, I think I'll have to stop here. It's about time. We'll continue this in the next class. Sorry about that. It's a sudden one because I see the time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo.
Harihi Om.